Hello Internet, Seth Skorkowski, and today we're going to discuss NPCs, or more specifically, how I make memorable NPCs. Now there's a lot of different ways of doing this, there's a lot of different philosophies and techniques that game masters use, but these are mine. Now hopefully other game masters or soon-to-be game masters are going to find all of this helpful. Now my regular viewers should have a pretty good idea by now how I do my NPCs. After all, I've got 4 of them that I regularly use.
Yeah, I think I can take this one over from here. Hey, I'm Jack the NPC. You might recognize me from such roles as 1920s Jack, or Fantasy Jack, where I trade in my fedora for a steel helmet, or modern day Detective Jack with my sweet, sweet mustache, and Cyberpunk Jack, NPC of the dark future. You do know there's like way more than 4 of me, right? I mean, we got post-apocalyptic Jack, space Jack, paranoia clone Jack, and most recently we added insane Jack.
Nah, you're just Jack, one and only. Now the other 3 that I'm talking about are my players.
Dude, are you saying that I'm an NPC? Yeah, that can't be right. How did you not know? Brother, I figured that out months ago.
What? No, I can't be an NPC.
You want me to prove it? Fine. What's your name?
Holy crap, I don't know what my name is. Yeah, that's because I haven't named you.
I don't have a name?
Well, you do have a name. At least I know what your name is. I've used the name before whenever I'm writing you. However, since I've never said what your name is in a video, then kind of like NPC backstory, since the audience doesn't know it, might as well not exist. However, one viewer in a video did refer to you as Dweebles, so I actually kind of just refer to you as that.
God, Dweebles.
Shut up! Tell me what my name is! You've done fine without it.
An NPC has no name.
NPCs come in 3 categories. Major NPCs, these are your big allies and your big villains, usually repeat characters, but they represent less than 1% of all your NPCs. Then you have your supporting cast. These are the NPCs that you usually know that you're going to be playing before the start of the session. Most of these NPCs have names. Then you have the extras. These are the minor characters that you probably haven't given a single thought to until the very moment that you needed them. They're almost pure improvisation, but they represent the bulk of the NPCs that you're going to play. These are going to be your shop owners, your crazed cab drivers, your local farmers, and all the random guards that the player characters interact with. Now, most of what we're going to focus on is the second 2 categories. Major NPCs follow all these same things as well, but they have a little bit more in addition to it, so we're probably going to do a more in-depth discussion on that one in a later video. But for the purpose of this video, I'm only going to focus on supporting cast and extras. Now, the first thing with NPCs is that I do very little prep for them. If I know that I'm going to be using the NPC beforehand, I'm probably going to go ahead and give them some stats and a name, but I don't write out any of their backstories or any of that stuff because that becomes a lot of things to keep track of, and I'd rather be spending all my prep time and all my note space behind the screen on more important things, such as the adventure and the major NPCs. Now, the steps to creating a memorable NPC don't actually happen in any particular order. In fact, the order changes on a case-by-case basis, and sometimes some steps get skipped altogether. So each case is going to be unique, which being unique is what we're talking about, is you want unique and memorable NPCs. But I am going to order all these steps, not because of a set order, but really just to differentiate them as different steps. So these numbers have nothing to do with order or priority. Number 1, who are they? What do they do? What is their job and what's its relation to the player character? Are they doing business with the PC, or did the PC just interrupt their normal life and start asking them questions? The NPC's profession is possibly going to really influence how the NPC interacts with the player character during the course of whatever conversation they're having. Number 2, what's their motivation? What does this character care about? But more importantly, what do they care about in the course of this conversation with the player character? Is it greed? Is it family? Is it religion? Is it revenge? How will this motivation influence their behavior during their conversation with the PC? Number 3, what do the PCs look like to them? Do they appear to be rich, poor, dirty, menacing, suckers? What sex and race are the PCs in relation to the NPC? Does the NPC even care about those things? How the characters look and they present themselves should make a huge difference in how the NPC treats them and views them. Do they look like intimidating, badass professionals, or do they look like just a bunch of idiots, and the NPC should react accordingly? Number 4, assign an adjective to describe the NPC. Are they arrogant, kind, shy, greasy, scheming, boisterous, irritated, drunk, naive? Whatever that adjective is, make it part of the character and how you portray them. Number 5, do they have any mannerisms or tics? Do they stutter? Do they have difficulty making eye contact? Do they laugh a lot and at inappropriate things? Do they rub their hands a lot when they talk? Do they scratch their chins? The best mannerisms are ones that I can physically do at the table when I'm portraying the NPC. Number 6, what is their social and educational level? If they're going to be a high-born noble, they're probably going to talk a little bit differently than that street junkie that's just looking for a fix. If they're a sailor, they're probably going to cuss a lot. If they're a high-born lady of the court, then they're probably going to talk very high-born and not be cussing a lot. But if you want that proper lady of the court to really stand out and be really unique because she cusses a lot, then you need to portray that and be able to show that that is not normal for people normally of her station. That way she stands out and that becomes more of something that she's known for, rather than you're just telling them that you're playing an NPC and you're cussing a lot. Make sure that they know that, no, this proper lady who shouldn't be doing that all the time now is, and that's what makes them memorable. Number 7, voice. This is the most important one by far. This is the glue that keeps everything else together. I have played hundreds of NPCs over the decades, and every single one of them that was considered memorable and that we would talk about years and years later had a unique voice. I am fully aware that I'm no master of disguise or even a half-decent actor. I have no illusion that if I slap on a 50-cent goatee and talk in a stupid voice that it's going to fool anybody.
It's okay, dude. He didn't really mean that.
He's a monster!
The truth is that you don't have to be an actor or even a half-decent actor in order to do this. You can try to give the NPC an accent, but really most of my voices are just terrible impersonations. While there's several different methods that I've used in approaching a character voice, the easiest way that I've done it is to be able to imagine an actor or a character from a movie or TV show as playing the player character. I'm not saying that you make the NPC just like this character or whatnot from a movie, but imagine if that character from a movie was then reinterpreted as a shopkeep or whatever it is that you want him to be. And then what you do is you take another character, some other features, and you kind of mix and match until you get something unique.
For example, I'm really just a bad impersonation of another player's bad impersonation of Sean Penn Spicoli mixed with just a little bit of Keanu. If I'm having trouble like really getting into the voice, all I gotta do is the laugh. And then I can just fall right into it.
I've discovered that when I give a unique voice to a character, several things naturally start happening as a result. First, I begin gesturing and altering my posture in a way to emulate the character. Sometimes this is intentional and I planned on doing it, but most of the time it's not. Next, the phrasing of what I say when I'm playing the NPC starts becoming more attuned to how that character would phrase it versus how I would phrase it myself, and that way the NPC actually starts talking very differently than I talk.
Yeah, I better take this one. Anyone that pays any attention to Seth knows that everything that he says is extremely scripted. I mean, you can see his freaking eyes moving as he's talking, but not me. Well, mostly because my dialogue is primarily improvisation. Yeah, sure, I got some bullet points that I can follow so I don't forget anything. I mean, they're just right there. But I don't need to have it all written out for me. And the reason for that is because once Seth falls into the character of Jack the NPC, the words that come out of my mouth are actually very different than the words he originally intended to come out of my mouth. So he's always like, Jack, you got it, just stick to these points. And that's the beauty of a voiced NPC, is because their vocabulary emerges once you start playing them.
What it really comes down to is show versus tell. You are going to be showing the NPCs to the player characters and making the players interact with this character versus just simply describing and telling all the players about them. Another interesting thing that happens when you give a voice and mannerisms to an NPC is that actually serves as sort of a mnemonic device that I can then fall back onto, and I can remember this character, and then I can start playing this character again very easily, even at will. Once I start that voice again, I instantly remember everything I need to know about that player character. I don't need any notes or anything because the voice is kind of what serves as the way that kickstarts my brain and it just kind of falling straight back into this character. So the voice sells it to the players, but it also cements this character into my own memory. That way I can actually pick them up and play them again even years later. But the biggest trick to selling an NPC character to your players is to just own it. A lot of game masters, especially newer game masters, they get a little self-conscious about, hurling themselves into this character role.
Which is understandable, but you just gotta throw that notion away. The simple truth is that once you throw yourself into that character role and you see your players' faces all light up and then they start getting into it, it suddenly becomes a whole lot easier and a hell of a lot more fun.
Good point, Mike.
Why, thank you.
Player response is critical, and the more that they respond, the more it feeds the character because it's feeding you as the game master. And once one person in the group begins enjoying, that becomes contagious, and everybody else in the group finds it suddenly a lot more easy and fun to enjoy this interaction with the NPC. But it also encourages the players to get more into their own role play because the game master is getting so much into their own role play. The bulk of our most memorable NPCs were really just random red shirts that ended up becoming beloved and repeat characters in the game, but they didn't have any preparation, and I had no idea that they were even going to be in the game up until the moment that they suddenly were. But it only happened that way because the players responded to me in a positive way when I presented them with the character, which fed me, which means that I kept going, which, kind of started becoming a circular thing, and we ended up with a very memorable character, but none of that was ever planned. So one thing that I recommend that you do with repeating NPCs is to give them a kind of a normal phrase or a favorite word or something that they like to use. This is really helpful in not only giving the NPCs consistent vernacular because they're always using the same words or the same phrases, but players also enjoy the familiarity that comes with the fact that, oh, this character often says this.
Whoa. I do not use catchphrases. 1, they're cheap. 2, it is a lot harder to come up with some sort of catchy little slogan or saying than most people actually give it credit for. And 3, hold on a second. I am listing things out of my fingers after I interrupted you with a whoa. I do this all the time, don't I?
Yeah, it's your shtick.
Holy crap. Oh, that was another one, wasn't it? I am feeling a lot less three-dimensional right now.
Catchphrases or favorite words might be planned out beforehand, but most of mine just sort of evolved during the course of the interaction with the NPC. And then when I played that character again, a second or even a third time, the mnemonic quality of speaking in the voice and picking up those mannerisms, I started remembering certain things that character said. And once I decided that there was a pattern, or once I discovered the pattern, I just kind of put a pin in that and remembered that I was always going to start using these words whenever they interacted with that player character, and that's how they ended up having a few different little catchphrases and whatnot like that. But let me go ahead and I'm going to tell you a story about the most despised NPC that I have ever run. This wasn't any sort of arch villain. This wasn't some, baby-eating murderous cult leader or anything like that. This was really just an arrogant shopkeep. I was running the Call of Cthulhu scenario 1 in Darkness, and in it is an antique store owner that the PCs need to talk to. The short description for the character stated that he was arrogant and he wasn't impressed with any player character who had a credit of less than 75. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with the Call of Cthulhu system, let me just explain. A 75 credit is extremely rich. I mean, freaking loaded. Now, 2 of our players in the group, their characters were very rich, but weren't quite rich enough for this guy's taste. So I had him talk a lot like this, and he would say things like, "Sir, that piece is very expensive, if you could put that down." And the whole time they're talking to the guy, his hands, they started doing this. I don't know what's going on here, but my hands just sort of developed a mind of their own, and I just kind of ran with it. Anyway, this guy was super arrogant, and one of the rich player characters characters in the group was just about speechless when he came across me like this, and he didn't know how to do it because I obviously didn't give a damn about him or how rich he thought he was. Now, everything that this guy said to them made it crystal clear that he considered himself as being above the PCs. Now, one of the characters in the group was of a lower middle class. His credit score was like 15 or something, which is pretty bad. But also, that character was Chinese. So I decided that this unlikable shopkeep might as well be a racist too. So now this NPC is making it crystal clear that he doesn't trust this one character one bit, who is A, not rich enough that he should even be in the store to begin with, and B, not white. And he's telling this PC, please keep your hands in your pockets and not bump into anything, and just being a total ass to this guy. But the only part of this entire interaction that I had planned out for the NPC beforehand is that he was just going to be a big dick. Now, what ended up happening as I got into character and as I started feeding off the response that I was getting from my players is that it started becoming more and more and more, and it ended up that one of the PCs, felt the need to prove himself to this arrogant ass, and he bought the most expensive clock in the room, which in 1920s dollars, it was like $250, but today's money that came to about $6,500 that he just dropped on this clock that he didn't even want, but he just felt the need to it, just to show this guy that he was good enough, which kind of in turn meant that he paid this guy a lot of money because he was being insulted. But once that interaction was over, that player then requested that we took a 5-minute break after that scene because he was still so angry that this imaginary asshole that he had just talked to had done nothing more than make him feel like he was insignificant. And that was an amazing response to have from just role-playing with kind of a jerk, that he had a visceral response to this, and it's like, hey guys, tell you what, can we just take 5 because I'm actually keyed up right now. So that's NPCs in a nutshell. For some people, it comes very, very naturally. For me, it actually took me quite a while before I had my little technique down. There was a lot of trial and error involved to it as to what worked and what didn't, and there was a lot of error involved in that. But it also took me a long time just to learn to embrace and run with it and just get into character and throw all caution to the wind. Now, maybe my method and my style isn't right for you and your group. If so, hey, that's fine. No big deal. But for anyone out there that's looking as a way to make their NPCs more memorable and turn them into definite characters that people remember for years to come, then I recommend that you give my method a shot and hopefully it works for you.
Hi, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you want to see some of our other stuff, game reviews and that sort of thing, just hit the subscribe button. Until next time, Game Masters, Excelsior! Now seriously, what the hell is my name? Quiet, Dweebles.